unknown champion.
Well, as a person, I think I'm a beautiful person. As a fighter, I think I'm rounded, one of the best fighters today.
In the history of boxing, there aren't many legendary fighters more underrated than Jamaican native Mike McCallum. McCallum's ability to skillfully fight both inside and out was rare. He was a master boxer who was also one of the greatest body punchers that ever lived, earning him his nickname, the Body Snatcher. A multi-weight world champion, McCallum was a slick, hard-hitting technician and was known for his exceptional toughness, never being stopped in any of his 5 losses. However, for much of his career, the highly skilled boxer-puncher was deemed too much risk versus not enough reward and was one of the most avoided fighters of his era. McCallum was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2003 and is regarded as one of the best boxers in middleweight history. Mike McCallum fought his way out of obscurity in Jamaica to the top of the boxing world, overcoming many difficulties along the way. In this video, I would like to bring an insight into the skills of the body snatcher and a look into the man that was Mike McCallum.
I was concerned at one time not being recognized as most champions are. But I could watch myself growing gradually. Every year, at the end of the year, I'd find myself one step ahead, most of those steps. And I would say to myself, well, Mike, at least you're improving. You are achieving things.
But his road to the top wasn't without its chuck holes. Born and raised in Jamaica, a country known more for its picturesque scenery than its history of boxing, McCallum learned his craft at a young age and represented Jamaica in the '76 Olympics. He moved to the States and turned pro in '81. Labeled unmanageable, he tossed managers and trainers as frequently as jabs, and that hurt him when it came to getting the big fight.
Earlier on in my career, it was great. It was, as a matter of fact, I fought 11 times in 11 months. So it was very, very, it was brisk, bam, bam, bam at the beginning. But in terms of getting the big fights, the major fights, to let people see and know who Mike McCallum really is, it was very slow.
But McCallum persevered, and in 1984, fighting out of the Kronk Gym under Emanuel Stewart, Mike became next in line to fight for either Thomas Hearn's or Roberto Duran's title. Because Hearns was also fighting for the Kronk Gym, Stewart assured McCallum he would get his title shot against Duran.
I think at the time Roberto Duran was ready for taking. I was young, up and coming. I had to go to Duran, which I wanted to go to Duran because at the time Duran was a much bigger name than Thomas Hearns. And I said to myself, well, Mike, the dream has come true. This is what you've been wanted all along, so long. This is what you fight for.
His center stage debut never took place. Emanuel Stewart, realizing a much bigger attraction, ingeniously arranged for Hearns to fight Duran, leaving McCallum in the cold. The only consolation to this was that Duran was forced to relinquish his title to step in with the hitman, making way for McCallum and Irishman Sean Mannion to fight for the vacant title. Emanuel Stewart was now gone, and so was his money. Then, the biggest setback in his life occurred. His common-law wife of 15 years, Yvonne, died unexpectedly while he was in training camp, leaving him alone with a baby and a title to fight for.
And she said to me, Mike, you don't have to worry about me. I'm going into the hospital. I'll take care of the sickness, and everything will be okay. I said, well, fine. That's a good move. So she went in the hospital, and she never came back out alive. Yvonne wanted for me so badly for me to win a championship. I feel that at the time she would be there in my presence, and she would be my strength and my guide, with all the obstacles against me. And I went in the ring. I prayed very hard before I went in the ring, and I take it very seriously. I take $30,000 because I wanted to win this title so badly, and I did it.
For the winner, by unanimous decision, Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum.
It hasn't taken Mike long to realize that notoriety and glitter don't always go hand in hand with winning the title, especially when you fight as many anonymous opponents as he has, in addition to fighting abroad much of the time. Only this past April, after TKOing Milton McCrory as the boxing world stood up and taken notice of the undefeated champion and his skills. McCallum understands that he'll never be the celebrity he is in the West Indies, but what he does hope for is that after tonight, he'll receive the respect and just due of a true champion.
I'm very happy where I'm at right now. Very pleased with my success in my career. And I'm going to be going on to greater things, and they better believe it.
This was the era of the Four Kings, the Fabulous Four, a golden era of middleweight boxing. Roberto Duran, hands of stone, the Panamanian slugger who held world championships in 4 weight classes. One of the greatest pressure punchers to ever live. Then we have the Motor City Cobra, Thomas the Hitman Hearns, the tall, rangy fighter that has gone down as one of the biggest punchers in boxing history. One of the most dangerous right hands in the sport.
That's what I feel, war, that's what's on my mind.
Marvellous Marvin Hagler, named Fighter of the Decade in the 80s by Sports Illustrated. The man that had the rough road to the middleweight boxing crown, durable as they come, known for his insane work ethic, running trainers off of sissies, opting to do his road work in combat boots. He's gone down as one of the greatest middleweights of all time. And last but not least, Sugar Ray Leonard, Olympic gold medalist with blistering hand speed combined with masterful ringcraft and footwork. One of the best pound for pound fighters in boxing history. All 4 fighters have gone down in the Hall of Fame. Now, enter McCallum, a man who was a sparring partner of Tommy Hearns. Mike McCallum left the Kronk camp after what he felt was a betrayal, having his opportunity at gold passed up instead to Tommy, a man McCallum thought he could beat after sharing the ring with him in sparring. McCallum felt like, had he been allowed, he would have been the 5th king of the middleweight division and a deserving addition to what was the Fabulous Four. In my opinion, McCallum is an athlete that should be studied by any aspiring boxer. At 65 years old, he has still maintained his faculties and talks well even after sharing the ring with many elites. This, he will tell you, is due to his defensive mastery.
But some fighters get hit solidly. Mike has the ability to slip and ride and roll with punches.
Let's go for a walk.
I mean, you were one of the most technical, one of the most defensively sound fighters that went around. Was that kind of the secret to your longevity? I mean, you started at light middleweight, you worked your way right up to cruiserweight. Was that your secret?
You're the only one that asked me that question. That is my secret. I know how to shift shots, I know how to block shot, and when I get hit, I know how to grab.
McCallum was unbelievable at riding shots in the pocket. He would slip, dip, turn and slide out of range with perfect timing and proficiency. I can only imagine the hours he must have spent honing these skills under the watchful eye of Eddie Futch. He truly was sublime, and I believe many fighters, past and present, would have dedicated time to watching McCallum work. For a long career, defence is a must. Learning how to tie up when you're hurt, take a walk to clear your head, and knowing where you are in the ring is an art form within itself. A true test of McCallum's defensive skill came against one of the pound for pound hardest hitters in boxing history, Julian the Hawk Jackson. Jackson's knockout to win ratio is 89%, a staggering feat. When Jackson hit you, you stay hit. Both men were undefeated at the time of their bout, and this was the first prominent opponent of McCallum's career. Julian himself went on to be a boxing Hall of Famer. McCallum weathered an early storm before defeating Jackson by TKO in the second round. McCallum was tall for a light middleweight, where he began his career and won his first world titles. He had a solid jab, often using it to paw at opponents to set up the right and manage his distance. Counter to normal tactics for a taller fighter, he would often opt to stay in the pocket where he could deliver his hurtful body punches. He would use the dip to evade hooks, but then come back countering with shovel punches to the body. He attacked the body mercilessly, putting money in the bank by taking the wind out of his opponent and grinding them down with his pressure. McCallum shared the ring with some greats. Julian Jackson, tough contender David Braxton, Donald Curry, Harold Graham, Sambu Kalambe, James Toney, Michael Watson, Steve Collins and Roy Jones Jr., although McCallum was admittedly past his best by this point and fought his last 2 fights probably for the money. Beating boxing Hall of Famers and being the skillful technician he is, Mike McCallum rightfully earned his place in the Boxing Hall of Fame. He missed out on some big money fights that arguably could have set him as an all-time great to the general public, but in my opinion, he still is. He remains arguably one of the most underrated fighters in boxing history. Once again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and share.
Exciting fight was a vicious fight. It was hard. It hit me with a right hand, and I went to the ground so fast. I didn't know I was up and down. You know, 'cause I never get knocked down before. So I dropped him right back up. I said, "I'm all right. I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all right." You know, to myself, I'm saying, "I'm all right. Yeah, Mike, you're all right." It hit me, and my legs were doing all kind of funny stuff. And I'm saying, "What's wrong with my leg?" And I grabbed him, you know, and I walked a little bit. I said, "Yeah, my leg's all right now, I can fight." And we started fighting again, because I dropped, because Julian punch is hard. Get up, and I hit him one time with the right hand. And he went down, and I said, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You can give it, but you can't take it?" Oh, I was all over him.